Most of my residential projects are either in the United States or in Germany. And in Germany, we have a number of student facilities. And we were expecting some real issues in our student housing in Europe because obviously all the universities closed down. But we actually didn't really lose any residents. And it may be that the markets are just so tight that they don't have options, or I mean, obviously they could go home, but we had really good tenant retention right through the piece. But we were worried about it and we prepared for it. In the States, obviously, there's been a lot of different things happening, and one of the largest challenges for us has been having property management team members and even construction team members where we're doing new construction or renovations come down with COVID, and then figuring out the protocols to keep both the residents and all the other workers on whatever team that is healthy has been challenging emotionally as well as logistically, because obviously we can't go there to help them on the ground. But just dealing with COVID in the States has been a lot more challenging than dealing with it here in Canada, where it's just been a lot less widespread. So that has definitely, for me, been the biggest challenge. And it's a challenge emotionally as well, because people are fearful, and rightfully so, because it's a nasty disease. So I hope you're all having a great year, and your experiences have been less traumatic necessarily than mine have. But I think by holding hands, pulling together, we're going to get through this and be a stronger operator, have communities that have more cohesion, and we'll get through it.
I think the greatest challenges relate to multifamily developments and how COVID-19 is affecting both current and future underwriting performance for development projects. Real estate is a local business, and COVID-19 has affected various cities across the country differently. And understanding how COVID has affected different cities differently is something that we're looking closely into and will continue to for the next little bit.
So we are experiencing unprecedented times, and having to adapt the lease-up program for our rental buildings and the sales program for a condominium all had its own set of challenges. So one of the biggest concerns was how to quickly adapt to ensure that the highest level of safety was there for our tenants and prospects, and of course try to maintain as much normalcy as possible. So we have projects in various phases. So for our assets that are under development, we had to consider how to keep the momentum going. For our rental projects, our property management teams had to navigate away from the traditional in-person leasing. And for condominiums, we were tasked with how do you move forward with the sales program so that development timelines could be maintained. So both our leasing and sales program had to adapt to a fully virtual platform. We had come up with creative ways to launch a project and keep potential tenants and buyers engaged and interested. And it was still important to maintain that personal service approach. So we held live webinars for prospects, including full property tours and virtual tours of suites, adopt a contactless platform for our follow-up meetings to answer any questions that they may have. And of course, the lease application or the signing of agreements to purchase and sale all has to be digital to ensure the highest level of safety for all. So now moving past the lease up, there were other factors to consider as well, including how do we move people in safely and efficiently? And then more importantly, at a time when the unknown is causing stress levels to be so much higher, you want to ensure that you maintain a level of service while still respecting and maintaining all the physical distancing and even government mandated protocols. And for our sites that were under construction, some faced mandated construction stoppages. So new layer of pressure now on our construction schedule and carrying costs and just overall increases to the project budget and timelines. And that'll be an ongoing challenge beyond 2020.
COVID has pushed multifamily owners and managers to rethink tools they utilize in attracting prospective tenants. So technology became the main vehicle in attracting tenants with virtual tours and becoming an expert at leasing this way. Another challenge for the multifamily landlords is keeping the building safe and acquiring personal protective equipment for their frontline staff.
I think the greatest challenge that has arisen is really that multifamily has, I don't even say a challenge, I think it's proven to be a very, very stable asset class. And I think the challenge is to keep moving forward, not to overreact to short-term scenarios such as COVID. Like COVID will be here, it will end, and we need to understand that when we're investing in multifamily, we're not investing for a 6-month process, but we're investing over the 10 to 15 years. So I think the biggest challenge is not to react to short-term blips in the market.